You must decide what the eighth deadly sin is. What is it? Betrayal. No one trusts a traitor, and usually in any story their karma comes back to bite them. Unfortunately, real life doesn't always serve justice for it. Good call. It's also the ninth, and last, circle of hell in Dante's Inferno. Some URL. Lust, greed, envy, sloth, wrath, vanity, and gluttony. And hashtag X200V. Yet the deepest circle of hell is not for any of those. I always thought that was weird. I guess a lot of those could lead to betrayal, but it's weird that it isn't one of them. Replying all to a company email. Replying all to say, can you remove me from this distribution list? Reply all, sorry to reply all but stop replying. Reply all, sorry I didn't see your message, I'm going to be out of office until November 4th THX for your understanding. This message was made by a bot. If you have any questions, contact the IT person. While you're at it, why no, just add another department to reply to. ITT people listing things covered by the 7 deadly sins. Also ITT people not knowing the premise of deadly sins as general sins which lead to other more specific sins, e.g. wrath is a state of mind which leads to the act of murder. I feel like almost all the sins as a state of mind can lead to the act of murder. Envy, greed, lust, gluttony, pride, even sloth. Looks like murder all the way down. Sloth? Like I can kinda see it in a murder by neglect I suppose, but maybe I'm just not fully remembering sloth. Going on Disney.com without your parents' permission first. You wouldn't dare. Just did. No you didn't. Say JK, say JK. JK, JK. Microwaving fish. This made me laugh at work. That's not allowed. Now you just committed the 9th deadly sin. Ignorant punctuation? Not using your turn signal. Quite literally deadly. Wouldn't sloth cover this? Since it's basically just an aspect of laziness. It's also arguably an aspect of pride, since a lot of people act like they're just too important to bother using it. Especially when they are in either an extravagantly expensive vehicle or their white trash and drive a shitty 90s Chevy. Calling someone and not getting through but then not picking up when they call back 0.000000002 milliseconds later. My dad does this all the time. He rings me and I miss it. I try ring him back 10 seconds later and the line is engaged. Think he just has a list of people to call to tell the same story Lamau. If by the line being engaged, you mean you're getting a busy signal, he's probably trying to call you again at the same time that you're calling him back. Exactly. Willful ignorance. Sloth/pride combo. Sloth. Is that not pride? It might fall under sloth, as someone pointed out, but I wouldn't have thought pride. Why do you think pride? Not trying to be snarky, genuinely curious. Calling me about my car warranty. And I don't even have a car. And I have literally never owned a car in my 48 years of life. Greed. So this is where you've been? We have been trying to reach you. Failing to achieve highway speeds before merging. Or just failing to get up to speed in general. The amount of people I see going 45 on a 55 highway is infuriating, especially when I'm going 60. Laughs in Autobahn. I've always wondered how that works. Is there a minimum speed? Or is it just go? Animal abuse. That would probably fall under wrath. Abuse equals need for control equals pride emo. Kinda both, pride and wrath kinda lead into each other. They pair greatly. Nah, some people just enjoy being cruel. Fear-mongering and sensationalism. Yes, but a fine fear-mongering and being prepared should be made. That's probably covered under greed. I think pride and wrath would fit that better. False testimony is a thing. Being rude to waitstaff and other low-income front-facing occupations. That would fall under pride. Or wrath? Depending on how rude. More depends on the motivation for being rude than the level of rudeness. And blaming the waiter/waitress for the way your food is cooked. Willful ignorance. Believing something stupid even if it's been thoroughly disproven. Vanity. Cowardice. It degrades trust and promotes weakness as a virtue. I was arguing this point with my GF and she said cowardice isn't a sin specifically. I said, well, what about Peter Pettigrew? We now agree that cowardice is a sin. That's a good one for some kind of tribal war-based society anyway. I'm curious how you mean that it degrades trust and promotes weakness. Sloth, you're not committing to being trustworthy or strong. Apathy, which is somewhere between pride and sloth I'm sure, but it's what's gonna get us all killed. Cheers to the world burning before a people who'll turn their eyes away from anything and everything, lads. Sloth by a different name. Intentionally preying on the old, mentally challenged. Specifically lying telemarketing, like when they call to say you're about to be charged $599 on your Amazon account, call back now if you want to stop it. Or when they intentionally target the old or mentally challenged to get them confused and cheat them out of money. If you were legitimately selling something, anything, vacuum cleaners for example, then I feel like you've wasted some of my time, but at least you're working to make an honest sale on a legitimate product. But if you're intentionally targeting people that aren't likely to see through the scam, there needs to be a special ring of hell for you. That's greed. Squeezing toothpaste in the middle of the tube. Get your own tube. There, I solved evil for $2.99. Nah man, that doesn't solve it. I still have to look at a fucked up tube all mangled from some knuckle dragger squeezing it in the middle for 2 minutes and 30 seconds while I brush my teeth. Remove said knuckle draggers from your home? Problem solved. Disdain. Disdain for the incarcerated, for the poor, for the homeless, for migrants and immigrants, and for those who are different. Disdain is vile and a sinful act. We are all human and we all struggle in some way or another. Waiting in a long line, and then finally starting to decide once you get to the counter when you had 5+ minutes to look at the menu and decide, but no, you been texting the entire time, and didn't even bother looking at the giant menu in front of you. To give the benefit of the doubt, maybe they need new glasses. I did this myself once or twice. Got in line, couldn't read the menu, line moved up, couldn't read the menu, line moved up, still couldn't read the fucking menu, line moved again. Still a fucking blur. Behold, I'm at the front, not wanting to be that asshole who looks at the menu while everyone is waiting behind me. My dumbass panicked and ordered a fucking cheeseburger and a fucking KFC. And this is the story of how almost 15 years later I still will not go to KFC in this one town about 30 miles from my house even though I am in that area at least once a week. Sloth/pride. Lack of empathy or the it doesn't affect me so I don't care if it hurts anyone else type of mindset. I'd say that falls under pride. Or sloth. Not my problem types are usually saying out of a mixture of laziness and lack of empathy. Though, I have to say, there's nothing wrong with watching out for your own mental health. If you're already overtaxed then absolutely toss out a not my problem. Selfish, yes, but that's not always a bad thing. Being an asshole to customer service. We don't need your shit. Could be greed too, as they always expect to get something out of literally screaming and degrading a human just doing their job. Pride. I wouldn't call it pride. Just generally allowing yourself to lose your emotions and be pissy when it isn't CS fault. Not talking Karens here. Doom scrolling. Sinner. Mea maxima culpa. Being a prejudiced what? So. Vanity. Ignorance/stupidity. /willful ignorance would be better. Ignorance is like not knowing what happens when you stick a fork in a light socket. Stupidity is knowing what will happen when you stick a fork in a light socket and doing it anyways. Willful ignorance is convincing yourself and or other people nothing bad will happen when you stick a fork in a light socket despite being told exactly what will happen. The other part of it is knowing what will happen, doing it anyway, and then blaming someone else all the while continuing to do it to make the other person look bad. Sounds like pride to me. When you use the last of the toilet paper and don't replace it with a new roll. This brings me wrath. Definitely wrath. Ligma. What's Lima? A city in Peru. Ligma nuts. Only if dairy's cheese. Speakerphone in public. Religious zealotry. Too many people use religion as an excuse to be an asshole. Probably falls under pride. Hypocrisy. Pride. People usually say willful ignorance, and that's a really good one. Probably the best. But just to be a little shit, I'll suggest blind faith. I know you're thinking about raving religious nuts, but blind faith is pretty useful. You may as well say hope is a sin. Chewing with your mouth open. Immediate death shall fall upon you. One of the 8 deadly sins. Gluttony/sloth?